Hello, writers, and welcome back to Spooky Writes. My name's Kemal Onor, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking all about what to do when you feel like you are stuck in your writing. So let's head into the storm. Okay, writes. So before we start getting into our topic, I just want to say it'd be really helpful if you could give this video a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, turn on notifications, help this channel grow. Share this video with your other writer friends. Again, this channel is designed to be a community for writers who are looking to improve themselves as authors, and there are many times when we can feel stuck in our writing, so this video is going to be particularly important for any beginning writers or writers at any stage. Anyone who might feel like they are coming to an impasse, writers who feel like they are stuck in their writing, they're not sure where to move forward and they're not sure how to move forward. So this is what we're talking about on today's video. So one of the main times that writers feel like they are stuck is when they are facing the dreaded blank page. And that's when you sit down to start a new project, when you sit down to start a new novel, start a new story. You're not sure where to begin, and a lot of writers will say, I'm stuck, I'm not sure how to start this piece. They might have an idea, you might have a scene that's 2-3 chapters towards the middle, you might even have an ending planned out, but you're not sure how to get there. So I'd like to define feeling stuck as a writer as being slightly different from that of writer's block, where writer's block you are unable to write, and feeling stuck as an author. Feeling stuck as an author can also apply to your growth as an author. You might feel like you're not continuing to develop. You might feel like you've plateaued with your skills and you're not sure where to continue with your study of writing. You're not sure how you can improve further because, like Hemingway said, we are all apprentices in a craft that has no masters. So it's a lifelong journey of getting better as an author, trying new things, being creative with your ideas. And so if you're feeling stuck, my first big tip for if you're feeling stuck as an author is to ask yourself, what happens next? And so by asking yourself, what happens next, I'm not asking you to say, what happens to this character? Where does this plot go next? I'm asking you, what is the next sentence that comes in your story? And so maybe this is something that I do when I'm writing short stories. I will reread the entire story that I have written, and I'll reread the story. I'll be thinking about what is the next progression of the characters. Where are they moving? Are they going to move further towards their goal? Are they going to be successful? And how is the dynamics between my characters unfolding in the story? How is the pacing compared to the rest of the story? So rereading your story, rereading your work, again, it might be very time consuming to reread your novel if you're stuck in the middle somewhere, but this is going to be very important because you'll reread your work and you'll probably pick up on some subtle subtext that you hadn't previously thought about. And this has happened for me many times in a lot of the stories that I have written, a lot of the stories that I have published. I'll get stuck somewhere in the middle, and then I'll reread the piece and I'll pick up on some small subtle theme, and a lot of that will come through the editing and revision stages of your writing. So understand that the best way to be unstuck in your writing is to just ask yourself what happens next, and to understand that you can always revise, always edit. And when you're editing and revising is the best time to do the most focused amount of writing that you can possibly do, especially in short stories. Short stories have to be focused. Novels, you have the ability to do what I refer to as waffling. You can have your characters go off on a little bit of a side tangent. It doesn't have to be so hyper-focused, but in a short story of 2,000 to 5,000 words, you have to be hyper-focused on your story. You have to be hyper-focused on how each scene builds on itself, how each scene grows the tension, how do you keep the reader engaged. And so, again, if you're feeling stuck, don't think about your piece as this big thing think about it as what comes next. Think about it as though you're walking. Take one step, then you take another step. It's very similar with writing. So ask yourself, what comes next? What is the next sentence to write in your story? And just kind of, and one sentence will, and then just constantly ask yourself, what comes next? Did your character succeed? Did your character fall in love? Did your character run away? And a lot of writers might feel stuck due to choice. So if you're feeling stuck as an author in terms of you're not sure what choice to make in your story, I would highly recommend that you go back to your characters, go back to your creations. Oftentimes, if you're having trouble with deciding on what your character is going to do next, you probably don't know your characters well enough. And so I've talked about this previously, about the idea of your characters have to have motivation. They have to have desire. So if I were to ask you, what is your character's driving motivation? Is your character's goal to save the princess? Is your character's goal to rule the world? Is your character's goal to make $1 million or to find love or whatever it is? So knowing your characters better is going to help you with thinking about the next step, and it'll help you answer that question of what happens next. And so knowing what your character is working towards, knowing what their goal is, knowing what their desire is going to help you in terms of thinking about your story and how your characters are going to be either moving closer towards their goal or moving further away from their goal. And you have to kind of have this play and balance, and that's what's going to help build the tension in your story. Because when readers care about your characters, they're going to want to feel your readers want to be rooting for the protagonist. Your readers want the protagonist to succeed. This give and take of, as your characters move closer towards their goal, towards his or her goal, what are the obstacles and challenges that he or she or they are facing? Are they becoming more, is the tension rising? Is the difficulty level being raised a notch? And so you have to think about characters in terms of what are their goals, and that'll really help you answer that question of what happens next. It'll help you to feel yourself getting unstuck. And again, just think about one sentence at a time. I am defining feeling stuck as an author as being separate from writer's block. You have to look at yourself as an author, and if you're struggling with something mentally, if you're against popular opinion, it's very difficult to write when you're depressed. It's really difficult to write when you're stressed. It's difficult to write as is in normal when you're completely fine. But adding stress, adding depression, all these things on top of that makes it that much more difficult to create, makes it that much more difficult to feel motivated. So the number one thing that you have to do to get yourself unstuck as an author, to get yourself unstuck as a writer, is you have to take care of yourself first, because your mind and your body are the catalyst that is telling this story. And if you're not able to wake up, if you're not able to think clearly, you're going to feel stuck. You're going to pause. You're going to have these long gaps between your writing. And there's nothing wrong with taking a gap between your writing. I think it's very important to take time between your pieces, between your writing sprints, because it's going to give you more time to think and reflect on your story. Again, I highly recommend every time that you load up your document to reread your piece and look for themes, look for traits within your story, and think about, what is your story actually about? What's the message? What's evolving conflict in your story? And as you read, with each time that you read, because editing is so important in writing. No one ever sits down and just sends out their rough draft. Even if you have a great idea, a great idea is nothing without follow through. A great idea is nothing without execution. If you're not able to act on your ideas, you're going to feel stuck. You're going to have a very difficult time writing. So the number one thing you have to do is you have to get your mind right. You have to take care of yourself mentally and physically. So if that means taking a walk every morning, if that means lifting weights or going to the gym and working out every single day, that will help you feel more creative. It will help you feel less stuck, because writing with depression is difficult. Writing with other things clouding your mind is so difficult. And thinking about feeling sort of paralyzed and not able to make a choice as a writer, I've known several writers throughout my education of studying writing, where writers would say, I wasn't sure where the story was to go, and it's okay to just write your story, and then as you edit, you can refine it more. You'll find out that, oh, my character going down that path led nowhere, that scene led nowhere, and there's nothing wrong with writing scenes that you end up taking out later. And especially as you write more, you might find that your beginning of your story actually starts on page 3 or page 4 of your writing, and that's okay, because you can find a way to interweave some of the nuggets and the best lines from those pages that you're cutting to your story, and just kind of plug it in more strategic ways, especially with short stories. Short stories, you have to start off extremely close to the ending. You have to start off with something with a hook. You have to start off with some piece of action, and I will be doing a video on how to start a story and how to start your writing. But this video is focused on the idea of how to get yourself unstuck as an author, how to feel motivated to continue to write. And it comes down to taking care of yourself mentally and physically. It comes down to knowing that you can always revise and edit your decisions later on, and knowing that it's just one step after another, one sentence after another. It's asking yourself what comes next, and just putting it piece by piece until you have a finished project. And when you have that finished project, you can then refine it even further. So hopefully that's going to be helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you feel stuck as an author? And what have you done in the past to help get yourself unstuck, to help yourself get motivated to write again? Writing is very much a habit. It's something that you have to do every single day. And once you start getting back into it, you have to just keep getting into the habit. I've done a video on writing habits that'll help you. Feel free to check that out. And you have to take care of yourself. Writing with depression is difficult. Writing when you don't feel good, when you're not energized, you have to feel energized. You have to make sure you're getting enough rest, make sure you're eating healthy. You have to just take care of yourself, because again, you are the catalyst for the stories that are coming out of you. So take care of yourself, and as always, keep it spooky. And then, of course, here's your bonus for sticking around to the end. The fishing rod was pulled out of Ashley's hand. She waited a moment before she decided to blank. So set your timer, and thank you so much for watching.